facts of this matter, and what is your interest in it?
Well, the facts of the matter are clearly contained in the documents, which I'm sure most Nigerians who follow the news cycle would have seen by now. And for any who haven't read those documents, what I would recommend is that you don't have to take my word or anybody else's word for it. Go read those documents. It might be a bit bulky, but sit down for 30 minutes and you get through it. What the facts established in those documents are unimpeachable, and it's written in very clear language in black and white that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was involved in heroin trafficking. For a fact, it's stated clearly in the documents that the investigating agents in the US, who came from the IRS and the FBI, stated that they had probable cause to believe that over $1.4 million of funds found in his accounts were the proceeds of heroin trafficking. The drug traffickers who were responsible for generating these funds were also named. And if you read those documents, he acknowledged his relationship to those drug traffickers who went by the name of Abiodun Agbele and Muiz Adegboyega Akonde. In addition to having a close relationship with those people and being on the board of a company called Compass Finance and Investment Company with both of them. In fact, his wife also had a joint bank account with Muiz Akonde's wife. And the address he opened one of the accounts in question was the same address that Muiz Akonde, who was the drug kingpin, used as his drop-off point for heroin in Chicago. And perhaps most significantly of all, by his own admission in these documents, at the time all of this was going on, he was a treasurer at Mobile with a fixed monthly income of $2,400. And by his own admission, he had no other source of income. So somebody with $2,400 of monthly income, which comes to about $28,800 annually, had about $1.4 million in the bank, which on its own is bad enough. Now, it's also clearly outlined in those documents exactly where those funds came from, because he himself admitted to the IRS investigating agent, Kevin Moss, that on several occasions he had paid money belonging to Abiodun Agbele and Muiz Akonde into his accounts before he then did an about face and claimed that he didn't know them. All these things are in the documents. What isn't included in the document, but which I was able to dig up on my own, was that just less than 10 days after having a conversation with Special Agent Moss in 1992, when this case was being investigated, he started spending significant sums of money to purchase real estate in the US. Bear in mind that at this time, his accounts were getting frozen, right, left, and center, and he chose that time to start purchasing real estate, which obviously raises the question that was he trying to hide money from the investigators by parking it in real estate? So again, for anyone who hasn't read the documents, it's difficult to sort of summarize 51 pages in a few minutes. So I'd sort of recommend that everyone should really take time out to read these documents. I consider that to be a sort of like basic requirement for citizenship at this point, for being a good citizen, that somebody who wants to be your president, who has this sort of antecedents, and it's in the public domain, it's publicly available now, people should read this thing and not just sort of go off of what some people have said about it. You don't have to take my word for it or Festus Keyamo's word or anybody's word, right? These things are written in English. So people should just honestly read these documents and then reach their own conclusions about the type of personality who is aiming to become president next year.
Okay, so David, let's put some arguments from their camp forward, and I want you to, dissect it. Yesterday, FFK, Femi Fani-Kayode, was speaking, and he said the deductions was because of, taxation issue, and that they even returned $1 million to Tinubu. Can you put your clarity on that for us?
Okay, so first of all, Femi Fani-Kayode, or preferably Bola Tinubu himself, would have to explain how an accountant on a fixed annual income of $28,800 came to have over $1.4 million in his account, because the math simply don't add up, right? The story he has told in public before is that, he used to be a consultant working at Deloitte, and that he was working on an engagement at Saudi Aramco, and they paid him this fantastic bonus of $850,000 which is obviously a lie, because you do not get paid that kind of money in consultancy work. Anyone who has worked in consultancy work would know that. I have worked in consultancy work. You don't make that kind of money, even if you are a partner, even an equity partner doesn't make that kind of money. But then, just to confirm this, we took the extraordinary step of hiring a private investigator in Chicago who retained a law firm that actually subpoenaed Deloitte LLP. That, okay, please provide records of this person. We want to see proof of this guy's employment and his staff payment details to corroborate the story. And as you saw yesterday, I put out the response that we got. Deloitte basically said, we do not know this guy. That has never worked for us before. So Femi Fani-Kayode needs to explain exactly how it is that if somebody is owing $460,000 in tax, apparently, on an income of $28,800 per annum, the maths are not adding up. Secondly, it's also stated very clearly in the documents what the seizure was for. It stated clearly that this is with relation to seizure of the proceeds of narcotics trafficking. It's written in black and white. So I don't really understand why people come to national TV to just sort of tell these really pernicious lies, because it doesn't really take 5 minutes to see. It's on the first page of the document, actually. So maybe Femi Fani-Kayode hasn't read the documents, or maybe he's banking on everyone not reading the documents, and that's why he thinks he can get away with telling those kinds of lies on national TV. That's best known to him.
Okay.
And then, right.
Yeah, David, I asked you, what is your interest in this matter? That part of the question you haven't dealt with. And I asked that question advisedly. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is running for the presidential office of Nigeria on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. Now, all of this in the public domain, your essay, your report, your investigative report in the West Africa Weekly, which was where I read it, okay, we seem to suggest that under Section 137, this is not a fit and proper person to be president of Nigeria. The PDP, the People's Democratic Party, tried to take advantage of this over the weekend, and they said, no, this person, $460,000 forfeiture and all that. Okay, lawyers have raised the issue about criminal forfeiture, civil forfeiture, but the issue is that it's a hybrid, pointing in just one direction. But what is your interest, considering the fact that all of these issues that you have reported transpired in another jurisdiction may not have any effect whatsoever here in Nigeria, because it's not something emanating from our courts? Are you aware of anybody within the Nigerian jurisdiction taking this up as an issue?
So with regard to the drug trafficking in itself, you're right about that, in that it didn't take place in a Nigerian jurisdiction. So as a legal issue, strictly speaking, in Nigeria, it's non-existent because it took place in the US. So on the basis of that, it's going to be very difficult to make this a legal issue. However, there are ancillary issues which I know for a fact are being taken up. Now, probably either later today or before the end of the week, this is going to emerge. So I guess I have the privilege of breaking this on national TV. I happen to know for a fact that a lawyer who is based in the FCT is actually taking up some of these issues independently. He has filed a criminal complaint, which should have been actually served on Bola Tinubu yesterday. If it wasn't served yesterday, it should be served today. And these issues are with regard to the fact that he has essentially committed perjury on his INEC EC9 declaration. So some of the documents submitted were falsified. Some of the claims he made, such as having claimed to have been employed at Deloitte LLP, are manifestly false. We've gone to the extraordinary extent of obtaining subpoenas for his purported former workplaces, his former schools, Richard J. Daley College, Chicago State University, and there are all sorts of discrepancies, right? And this person has submitted falsified documents to INEC, and those are on his INEC 9 declaration. So this issue is actually being taken up by this lawyer. Actually, I'm going to name the lawyer. His name is Mike, and Mike Enahore back. So this action should have been served yesterday, but if it wasn't served yesterday, it's going to be served today. So I know for a fact that this is being taken